Hi, and welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
And we're calling this video Pull the Plug, how to start boondocking, because gotta tell you, over the last 5 years, we have done so much boondocking and dispersed, and it has just opened things up so much for us.
Not to mention the money that's saved.
But folks, for the first, 4 years, 4 to 5 years, we had hookups at every place we stayed. And so we understand that
Kind of hesitant.
pulling that plug is hard. And so we're just going to talk to you for a few minutes about how we got started and what you might do to help yourself feel a little bit more comfortable with it. And the first thing that happened, we live in Texas, and our Texas state parks, if you look at the park map and it has an E for an electric site, that means you have water and electric at your site.
Yeah.
If it says water, you don't necessarily have electric, but if it says E, you have water and electric.
And so we were relatively new. I think it was in our first year.
Or second.
And we were used to Texas State Park site. This might have been the first time we...
Well, we went, there were two, this happened twice.
Yes. Okay.
A Corps of Engineer park.
We went to this Corps of Engineer park. We were going to 3, and it had the little E for electric, and I just knew it had water. It was a gorgeous site. And we got there, and guess what? E didn't mean water and electric, it meant electric.
And so we were in the fifth wheel at the time, still traveling in it, and we talked about it. We thought, well, should we go see if we can move to a site that has water and electric? But we'd already seen we had by far the best site in the park. I mean, there was truly no question about it. And so we thought about it and realized we had enough water hoses with us that there was this water spigot not far from us.
Our fresh water had not been sanitized.
We'd never done that, didn't need to.
And we don't know how long.
And so we decided we could use that fresh water tank. If the water pump worked, we didn't know, we could use that tank for showers and washing the dishes, etc. And then we had carried gallon jugs. We still carry gallon jugs to carry water for the pets. And so I thought, you know what, for coffee, tea, etc., we can go down to the spigot and get fresh water to make our coffee and tea. And so there we were, really brave. We put water in our fresh water tank, and we stayed in a site that did not have a water hookup. That was how we started.
Yes.
And that happened to us again. Well, that one was in Missouri and the other one was in Oklahoma. And so that had happened a couple of times, and we realized we can do this.
Yeah.
We decided, well, okay, that worked out pretty well. And so when I retired and we changed to the smaller RV, my mindset was we're getting this so that we can
take those longer trips.
And we can stay without hookups.
Yes.
And so we got a little generator, and we had some solar put on. It wasn't a full, setup like we have now, but it was enough that we would easily have power to charge our phones, laptops, all of those kinds of electronics. We would have enough that if we wanted or needed to make coffee or stuff like that, or even run the microwave just to heat something.
Yes.
And between that and the little generator, we thought we were going to be fine. But our first trip, we went to a Texas state park that had that was an electric site. It was a water
Yes.
electric site, but we didn't plug in. But we wanted that safety net
Yes.
so that we felt secure trying it. And then
Not too long.
shortly thereafter, we went and stayed at a Texas state park where we just had water. We still had electric, and we had some issues with the setup with the solar we had to start with. We got it fixed, and everything worked fine. But then we stayed on Padre Island, National Seashore,
that
on the beach.
that was quite an experience. Listening to the waves every night as we went to sleep.
And just kind of a sampling of, wow, we can stay places like this if we don't have to have water and electric hookups. And it was, it was a big step.
It was a huge step.
But then the next trip we took, we drove the Natchez Trace where there were no hookups
Yeah.
at those campgrounds, went to
Mountain.
Great Smoky Mountain National Park, stayed where there weren't hookups. And so we actually went 2 full weeks with no hookups.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that hard. We were able to do it. And so being able to do that, and folks, I gotta tell you, even if it's just being able to stay in a parking lot overnight
Yes.
as you're driving, it just makes it so nice to be able to make kind of some adjustments.
And that's where you might start, is in your driveway.
Yeah.
I mean, stay a night or two and see how it works if you don't have any electricity.
And, we, like I said, we have now gotten to where we rarely stay with hookups.
Yeah.
And that was another thing was we went 4 years with just, it wasn't this, but it's kind of like one of the self-contained Jackeries or something like that where you
Yeah.
have a little bit of solar.
And we
About 4 years with that, and then finally we're like, you know what? We are boondocking enough. Let's go on, put in a major solar upgrade, and man,
that 4 years we did some 6-week trips.
yeah, we easily go 6 weeks and don't have hookups, and it's not until you get home going, wow, we didn't have any kind of, and
When you think about how much you spend on campsites,
And that's another thing is the two main reasons we love this. One is the flexibility where we don't
Yes.
we don't have to have reservations.
and so you don't have to be at that next place. We're retired. It doesn't matter if we're a day or two or a week or two off.
And then the money. I mean, our
Yes.
6-week-long trips, we spend usually around $100 for national forest campsites or things like that. Once again, dry camping. But I think the last 3 trips that we've taken that have been 6 weeks long, one we spent $115 and one we spent like $85. They average out to
Yes.
around $100 that we're spending on lodging for 6 weeks. And so we understand it can be scary. It is scary when you're trying to start something new, but we're telling you this can open up. If that's a style of travel you're interested in, take those baby steps, maybe book some of those where you don't have water, try that out, and then you have so many more options.
And one way you might do that is at equestrian sites.
We have
Some
stayed,
of them will have electricity but not water, and some of them will have water but not electricity.
and some of them are just dry camping.
Yeah.
So, the less you require, the more options you have.
Oh, yes.
And so that's why we're in the smaller RV. That's why we love being able to boondock, is it just gives us more options. And so you know, if it's something you're thinking about, it's not for everyone, but if it's something you're thinking about, take those first few steps and see how it goes. And then if you're like us, well, a new world has opened up for you. Thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.